I've had so many requests for how to drape a butterfly sari. Now the petticoat should always match the sari that you're going to wear, and that's the part that's going to fall around your tummy and down, especially the bottom part. If it's kind of a multicoloured sari, then match it to the bottom so that if it ever does show up later, like when you're climbing stairs or something, then you don't see it. But it should always sort of be the colour that kind of helps enhance the colour of the sari. So if your base is really sort of, say, dark, and then you've got a light yellow on top, so you've got a dark black border and a yellow on top, then wearing a black will dull the yellow of the sari, wearing a black petticoat will dull the yellow of the sari. So I would then wear a yellow petticoat, but just make sure that it doesn't show up on the bottom. The next step is to put your shoes on as well. I would never put on a sari without putting my shoes on first, because then you'll end up with a sari that's too high. Unless you're going to, say, a religious event or something where you need to take your shoes off. Okay, so you can see now my petticoat is quite high up. It doesn't have to touch the floor like a sari does. You just pull it down to where you want to wear it. I'm going to pull it to about here because it helps keep my tummy in. If I wear it any lower, my tummy comes over, make it look fat. Okay, next thing is to put a blouse. I'm going to do that off camera. Also, before you start, do have your safety pins ready and open. Nappy pins are the best, and you probably need about 6. Butterfly sari. Just to open it all out and show you how to work with it, you've got the main sari here, which is quite plain around the bit that tucks into the tummy. There's absolutely nothing on this part here that I've just draped around my body. But as you come along, you can start to see the design at the bottom. And for those who don't know up or down on a sari, and for some people who don't wear them often, who are maybe not Indian in culture, the bit that you tuck into your tummy is usually quite plain, because otherwise that can irritate the skin. So all this top part here, which will be tucked into the stomach, will be quite plain on most saris. So as you go along, you'll see the sari change from nothing here at the top going that way to now seeing a design that runs from bottom to top. And this will be the bit that will be on show. So and as you move along, or as I move along, I can see that it starts getting more and more intricate. And then we come to the bit that's the butterfly bit, which is on a normal sari that is not a butterfly sari, just a regular sari. This would not be cut, it would be just, you know, the same shape as the rest here. It will be as long as this. But this has already been pre-shaped. And as I go along, you can see this butterfly shape that's taken form. Now, one thing I will say about butterfly saris is if you're tiny in size like I am in height, then you're going to have to make the butterfly sari work for you. Either wear higher heels. I'm 4'11", so I don't get away with it actually. With this sari, the way I wear it is I let it drag on the floor and use that as the feature. Some people don't like their saris dragging on the floor. If you're going to be wanting to wear one, or you've got one that you want to make use of, then you might want to drape it slightly differently, in that instead of having this on the right on the shoulder, maybe have it down further here and gather it up more here so that it lifts up at the back. It's just something to be aware of, but I'll show you anyway. So open the sari out. You want all the sari falling to your left. It just makes it easier if it's in the right position to start with. And you want to hold it so that you've got the plain part, the corner of it, in your right hand, and holding it out quite straight with your left hand. And you'll also notice that at the back you've got the lilac fall that's placed at the bottom there. That will help the sari stay nice and straight to the floor and not push up. Now when you're doing the first set, when this is the first wrap around, you don't want it exactly touching the floor. That's because it can have that effect of showing from underneath the pleats. So have this about 1 to 2 centimetres off the floor. Lay it down flat across your tummy. Don't pull it, just lay it naturally across your tummy. and then tuck in to your petticoat like this. You can either start it here, you can start it here, or you can start it further back. On a sari like this, it doesn't matter too much, but on some fancy saris, where you place it is important to the integral part of the design, to show the design off. What I like to do at this stage is, you've got little bits that come up and it's not quite flat. I like to just get my thumbs through there and just fan this out. It will just get rid of any sort of any sort of creases or folds in there, and then pull it to make sure it's at the right level. This will come down, that's because I've let go of the fabric there. Now, holding the fabric in your left hand, turn to the right and just drape that around you like that. And when you look behind into the mirror, always use a floor-length mirror for something like this. This will be as is and will be seen, so you want to place that perfectly, which is about 1 centimetre off the ground. If you want yours to go to the ground, then that's fine. Just place it where you're happy and comfortable with it. Again, get your fingers in there underneath the underneath the skirt, and just tidy up all the material so that you haven't got any gathers and folds. And it's nice and smooth. That draping that's on the floor is kind of gone around me from where I've moved it. So I like to bring it all back round to the front again. Then you want to pick it up. This is the topmost part, so where the join is here, pick up the sari and just run it along your fingers, the very top edge, until you get to the last bit of the sari, and then you want to push that around your body, past that corner to your right hand. At the same time, just work your left hand around that edge you've just worked through, so that you don't get mixed up and confused, as you know, your sari doesn't turn around, which used to happen to me a lot in the earlier days. And then just bring it all the way around the front. Don't move at all in terms of your feet. Don't step in and out, because what you will end up, what you're doing right now is creating a circle around you, and if you step out of that circle, then you end up stepping out of that loop and the sari just won't look right. So now I've brought the whole, so now I've run the sari once around my body again, so now I've got 2 wraps around my body, and the sari is back here in the front again. I'm not going to let go of this, but I just want to show you that I've created a nice little loop here right in the front, and you can bring all this around the front because you'll need this part to do the pleats. So let that drape around the front. But with your hand still here in holding this sari, you now want to open it up to where the butterfly part is. And this is what I was saying earlier about it falling loose. Holding this bit here is quite wide for my shoulder. I could, if I wanted to, just fold it up once more, but then I would lose that butterfly design. So what I'm going to do is just drape this on my shoulder and see how it's going to fall. Now, the last time I wore it, I think I wore very low heels. It was just after I'd given birth, and you know, I just didn't want to be wearing high heels and running after my young son. It's not dragging as much on the floor now. You can see just that tip there is dragging, but if I didn't want it to drag at all, then what I could do is just bring it down over my shoulder a little bit more so that the flower is full on display. I'm going to leave this here now, get the corner that's at the very top, the top edge, wrap it around my body to the left, and bring this loop to the front here. This is the bit that we're going to start folding. If you're going to do it traditionally, then you follow the way the balu is sitting on the shoulder. So as my balu is sitting on my left shoulder on this style, then when I do the pleats, I fold them in all facing to my left. And if I was wearing it Gujarati style, then I would turn them so that they're facing to my right. But these days you can wear them anyway. Not everybody follows that method. It's just the method that I was taught. So pulling this bit now quite tight, but not tight so that this, you know, comes way over my shoulder and across my bust. I want this to stay put, but I want this bit to be covered and not keep falling down. If I keep it loose, and this is going to happen throughout the course of the day, so I want to pull it quite tight. You don't want your sari sitting right under your bust, you just want enough to cover the bust area, and then pull it out front. Okay. So the shape that forms at the back is that it goes around nicely. You can have it lower if you like. I like it higher because I don't like to show my back too much, but you can have it lower down your bum and then bring it around here. And just drape it and place it the way that it suits you. I'm going to have mine here, and I'm going to place a pin right here. You can go up and pin to your petticoat, and you can put the pin through the front. This is not going to be seen. So that's your first pin just there, and you can see that that's created a really nice fall around, and it's also keeping my bum looking quite slim, which is a miracle. Now you've got your loop in the front here. You're going to do your pleats. Now it looks a little odd here. Not everybody does their sari like this. It's just how I do it in order to get the designer look. From the right hand side, you're going to start pleating. Now you don't want to just start your pleats right here from where you tuck in. What you want to do is bring this back to the front here, to where your belly button is, fold down, and then start your pleats from there. If your material's slippery like mine, don't be afraid to use two hands. I'm going to use two hands. The sari pleats need to be absolutely equal. None should be higher, none should be lower, none should be wider, none should be narrower. They should be exact. And that is because when at the bottom they will, you'll get some that are higher and lower, and it will just look like it's unravelling. Because this material is quite slippery, what I'm going to do is shake it first and then pin it. So as I shake it, you can see how beautifully and easily those pleats form. And if you look at the bottom, you can see they are exact. They're not high, they're not low. This one's out a bit, and I think that might be, yeah, if I look here, this one's slightly wider. So what I'm going to do is just tuck that in a little bit. You can adjust them just by pulling in and out, but essentially they should all fall the same. One is not too much of a problem because you can adjust them, but when you've got loads, then it's really difficult to adjust. So grabbing a nappy pin, you want to push that through those pleats, and that will make them much easier to handle and keep them in place. Push them in about, I don't know, 10 centimetres down, or less if you're taller than me. Okay, so these are the pleats as they are, with a pin through the top there. You just want to place them. This is what I was talking about earlier about how to face them. You just turn them. If you're wearing gujarati, then they'd be turned that way, and you'd be wearing them like this at the centre. But because we're wearing it over our left shoulder, then we're now going to turn them and do that pin and adjust it. And these little small adjustments make all the difference in a sari. Okay, so now I'm going to take these pleats out of here. Give them a good shake again because they've got messed up from the side that they were in. Drape them to where I want, which is smack bang in the middle. Make sure that the pleats are level with the rest of the sari. And when you're ready, tuck them in and fan them out. Don't worry about this, this is all going to get covered anyway. I'm just going to quickly pick up here. It bulks up here because obviously you've got the pleats on this side, but you've also got pleats on this side, so it will bulk up, that's natural. And then take a safety pin and pop that in as well. Okay, well I'm not happy with the way this is falling just like this. It kind of is over my arm, and even when I gathered it like this, it just didn't feel right to me. You could gather it and then just put a pin here and then drape it over your shoulder and then pin from underneath to hold it in place. But it just seems a little too handkerchiefy down here. So what I've decided to do is take the top corner and pleat it like you normally would. So pleat on top of the pleats with the design facing inwards. Just doing maybe 5cm pleats, which is all my fingers can manage. And then give those pleats a shape. These don't have to be perfect because of the way the material is cut. You know, it's going to fall like that, but I'm only really concerned about the pleats that are falling over here. So give them a shape so that you get 2 to 3 pleats here. I don't want it exactly where the join is between the two fabrics, more sort of at the shoulder part where I would be pinning. Just grab those and put a pin through there, fan out and just make the sari drape across the front nicely. As holding the top edge, I'm just pinning that part only to my blouse. What I've done is, you know the pin I had in here from when I folded it up, I just removed that, and that's now showing the circle, and it's also keeping my bust covered a bit more. Some of them, if these are longer, then they can actually just wear it with the top pinned in here and it will cover just over your shoulder here, or not shoulder, your elbow here, and sit in quite nicely. But yeah, it's so much more flattering, I think, the sari. I really hope this is useful to some of you who want to wear your butterfly sari and not quite sure how. Hopefully this will give you some idea. Like I said, every butterfly sari is different, so just take some of these points on board and do practice with it, play with your sari and see how it falls on you and see which way you want to wear it. I hope it was useful to you, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye!